The One Ring is potentially the most powerful artifact in the entire Lord of the Rings series, but what is it? Why is it so powerful, and where does it come from?
In the fires of Mount Doom, the Dark Lord Sauron forged in secret a master ring to control all others. And into this ring, he poured his cruelty, his malice, and his will to dominate all life. One ring to rule them all.
Firstly, I'd recommend that you go back to the previous Lord of the Rings lore video if you haven't seen it already, as this video takes place shortly after the events of that one, when Morgoth's been permanently imprisoned in the Endless Void. Now, remember, Sauron, one of the lesser angels who served Morgoth, was still alive and had staked a claim to Mordor in Middle-earth. And after beginning construction on his tower fortress Barad-dûr, he began to work on a new plan to dominate the world under him, the new Dark Lord. One of Sauron's key powers is manipulating the minds of others. It's how he's able to control hordes of orcs during battles, so when he hatches his plan to conquest Middle-earth, he doesn't do it directly. He disguises himself as an elf and infiltrates their ranks to work with a master smith called Celebrimbor. He promises that he can fix the elves' greatest problem. You see, Middle-earth loses its magic over time. The energy that Eru-Ilúvatar, the god, and his angels use to create it dies down over time, and with this, the elves and all the other races and creatures linked to this lose power. So unlike what the old quote about sharing the rings may suggest, the elves were actually going to keep all the rings for themselves to sustain their magic.
3 were given to the elves, immortal, wisest, and fairest of all beings. 7 to the dwarf lords, great miners and craftsmen of the mountain halls. And 9 rings were gifted to the race of men, who above all else desire power.
So Sauron offers to help the elves make magic rings that will allow them to maintain their power. Sauron and Celebrimbor make 16 rings together. However, Celebrimbor makes 3 of his own, which turned out even more powerful than the original 16. However, Sauron had another ring made with a very special function. Secretly, the 16 rings were infused with a power that allowed Sauron to corrupt its wearers by using his own ring that he crafted in secret, the One Ring. The plan was to get these rings into the hands of the most influential elven leaders that then Sauron could secretly control, making them his slaves. However, this plan backfires. The elves, been so in touch with the magical aura of the land, detect Sauron's plan and remove their rings before he could take hold. So Sauron moves to plan B. He tortures Celebrimbor and his family into giving up the location of the 16 rings that they crafted together. However, Celebrimbor dies before the holders of the 3 more powerful rings are revealed. With these rings, Sauron attempts to change the plan for infiltrating the other races of Middle-earth. He manipulated 7 of the rings into the hands of the dwarves. This didn't go well. Dwarves were made by a different Valar, and in a way that made Sauron unable to command them. However, the rings were a bit of a double-edged sword for the Dwarven Lords. Many of them became mad with greed, and the wealth and power that came with them made them a target for dragons. However, he then gave the remaining 9 rings to the race of men. Now, the race of men are far more susceptible to the corruption and Sauron's mind control. And being obsessed with survival, the rings sustained the king's lives for thousands of years, turning them into the Ringwraiths, or Nazgûl. Eventually, the elves and men realise Sauron is massing his forces and breeding orcs, as well as commanding his fallen kings. Eventually, this leads to a coalition and the declaration of war, which leads to the Battle of Mount Doom, where Sauron is defeated, the rings severed, eventually he is lost and then found again by Smeagol, who turns into Gollum eventually. But that's the thing about the ring, it's a concentration of Sauron's power, hence why he doesn't survive when it and his body are both destroyed. The ring is a manipulating item. It imbues the holder with the idea that they could be all-powerful, that they could mould Middle-earth as they see fit, and this is why men are so easily blinded by it, why they crave the power it offers them, but it's all a lie. The ring really is Sauron's dark power incarnate, and it serves him and him alone. The reason it tells the wearer to go to Mount Doom is because it wants it to return to its creator. Even wearing it, although the invisibility may seem like its main power, this is just one minor aspect. Whilst camouflaging the wearer, it makes them stand out in the endless void to its creator and his wraiths. The ring longs to be back in the hands of Sauron, to be used for its true purpose, to control others. It's for this reason a far more simpler race would make a perfect ring bearer, one that would not be swayed by the promises of grandeur and power. For this reason, hobbits were perfect. They have relatively simple goals. Even Gollum managed to hold the ring for 478 years, and although he did go mad, any other race would have submitted to the power and fallen long before he did.